Today's episode of DCD Chocolate TV is brought to you by the letters I for It Works, independent distributor Karen Hoff-Mokel, and the letter M for Mary Kay, independent beauty consultant Catherine Wyke, and viewers like you. Thank you. DCD Chocolate TV is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hey guys, this is Rebekah with Dove Chocolate Discoveries, and this is my premiere webisode of DCD Chocolate TV. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. This is truly a chocolate dream come true for me and something that I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. And I'm so happy to be making it happen, and I'm so happy that you're helping me make it a sweet success. So Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and in this episode, I'll be walking you through making a fabulous chocolate steak dinner for two for you and your sweetie. So today's menu kicks off with a shrimp and avocado salad with a sweet mango vinaigrette, followed by cocoa-marinated steak with heart-shaped potato skins, and ends on a sweet note with a chocolate and raspberry molten lava cake. Okay, so first up, we're going to want to get our steaks in the marinade, which means that we're going to have to make our marinade. So let's do that. To make the cocoa marinade, you will need 2 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of Dove Chocolate Discoveries sweet and spicy cocoa rub, half a cup of vegetable oil or olive oil, your preference, and salt and pepper. So we're going to take the 2 cloves of garlic. I like to cut off those little ends. I don't trust them. Okay, and we're going to want to get these pretty minced, and we want to really smash them so that it releases all that garlic flavor, because the more garlic that's released, the more it's going to flavor your chocolate marinade. So take out all your aggression. And be like, dang garlic, I had a really bad day. I'm just going to smash like Hulk. So now that we've got our garlic all minced up, we're going to just put it in this pan. I'm going to add the half cup of, this is vegetable oil today. You could use olive oil, whatever your preference. Just go ahead and pour that right in. Take your DCD cocoa rub. And you're only going to need about a tablespoon. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but this stuff goes a very long way. There's a lot of pungent spices in here and a lot of flavor kicks. Then I'm going to add a little bit more of salt and pepper, because that's how I roll. Big flavor starts with a good base. And I'm just going to whisk, whisk, whisk. Did you see how fast all that chocolate turned the whole marinade brown? That's how you know how pungent this stuff is. So, got that all mixed up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the steaks to the marinade. Now today I'm using flat iron steaks. I've also used this recipe for sirloin, chuck roast, all kinds of other cuts of meat. It really just depends on what your preference are for steak, and also it doesn't help, or it doesn't hurt when stuff is on sale either. Okay, so these are all coated and they're all ready to go in the refrigerator. So I'm going to put some saran wrap over this and set it in the fridge for at least an hour. So while the meat is marinating, let's get started on those heart-shaped potatoes. To make the heart-shaped potatoes, you will need 2 large potatoes, 1 tablespoon olive or vegetable oil, salt and pepper, 1/4 cup chopped green onions or chived, half a cup crumbled bacon, half a cup shredded cheese, half a cup sour cream, 1.5 tablespoons DCD sweet and spicy cocoa rub, and 1 heart-shaped cookie cutter. So I'm going to go ahead and I've pre-peeled these potatoes. You can choose to have them peeled, you can choose to leave the skin on, it's really just preference. And now I'm slicing them into about 1/2-inch strips lengthwise. And I'm going to bust out with my heart-shaped cookie cutter and just punch out these potatoes. So what you have, if it would get out of the cutter, what you have is a heart-shaped potato, and then also if you like to use it, a little frame. Oh, super cute. I have to say that I actually got this recipe from my sister-in-law who shared it on my Facebook page, and I have to credit makethebestofeverything.com. They're the ones who actually came up with this recipe, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, what a sweet addition to a Valentine's Day meal, so I had to do it. So I've already prepared a baking sheet. I've lined it with foil, and I've also drizzled it with oil and some salt and some pepper. So now that I have my hearts and my frames, I'm going to go ahead and place them on the pan. And I want to make sure that they cook really evenly. So I'm actually going to flip them so they're both coated on both sides with the oil and salt and pepper mixture. So there you have it. Hearts, potatoes, and frames. Now we're going to go ahead and get these in a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes for the first round of cooking. So our potatoes are in the oven, so now let's go ahead and whip up the sweet mango vinaigrette for our shrimp and avocado salad. To make the salad, you'll need 1 avocado, 8 large shrimp peeled and deveined, 1 clove of garlic, 2 tablespoons olive or vegetable oil, 3 tablespoons water, 1 tablespoon DCD mango dessert sauce, 1 pinch red pepper flakes, 1 tablespoon oil or butter, and salt and pepper. So we're going to start off by making the mango vinaigrette. So I've got my extra virgin olive oil here. Next up is the lemon. So I'm just going to slice this right in half. Actually, cooking tip, I'm going to kind of smush it and roll it, and that's going to help release all those juices so I don't have to squeeze as hard. Ha ha, the more you know. So I'm just going to slice it right in half, and I'm going to cup my hand over the measuring cup so that my hand catches all the seeds instead of the seeds going all into the vinaigrette, which is no. Oh, this one's got a lot of seeds. Oh, there went one in it, huh? Oh, I've added my lemon juice to the olive oil, and now comes time for the mango. So I'm only going to add about a tablespoon of this mango dessert sauce. And it might seem kind of weird that I'm using a dessert sauce for vinaigrette, but first of all, it is a sweet vinaigrette. But secondly, you know, when you add it to the right ingredients, like with the acidity of the lemon, and then we're going to go ahead and put in just a dash of the red pepper flakes, it doesn't come off super desserty sweet. So you could easily use this as a vinaigrette for any salad, or you could get even more creative and maybe cook up the mango dessert sauce in a like a dipping sauce with maybe coconut, something like that. That would be delicious. Okay, so did you see that's coming up kind of thicker than I prefer? So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of water to the mixture and then continue to whisk. So about 3 tablespoons. Okay, so I've added the water to the vinaigrette, and you see that it's loosened up a lot. And now I'm just going to finish it off with some salt and pepper. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Set you aside, and now let's get started on cubing up that avocado. Okay, so I've cut it in half, and now I just need to get this yummy green flesh out. So the easiest way that I find is I just take a spoon and I fit it right in between the skin and then the greenish outer layer. Well, not greenish, totally green, but that heavier green color. So you just kind of treat it more as like you're scooping it out. Make sure to get all that good stuff. I'm going to just pull this pit out and then do this to the other side. So I've scooped the avocados out of their skin, and now I'm just going to give them a quick cube. So I'm going to slice them maybe into 4 slices lengthwise and then just go back horizontal. Now you can do this, you can do it as like slices if you prefer. You could do it any way you like. I personally like them cut into small cubes because I feel like it's easier to get a good bite out of the salad. Okay, so avocados. We're going to go ahead and set you aside. They'll hang out with the marinade, and we're going to go ahead and get our shrimp going. So I've prepped my pan for the shrimp. I melted about a tablespoon of butter, and then I've smashed some garlic. So I'm going to just add that right there, get it sauteed. Now the thing to remember with shrimp is they cook up super, super fast. You don't want to overcook them either because then they're rubbery and they're tough and it's just not good. So I'm going to let that garlic sit in there just for a hot second because it needs to get that garlic flavor and aroma. That's how you know you're doing it right in the kitchen, by the way. The nose knows. Okay, so there's that, and then now I'm going to go ahead and pop my shrimp in there. A shake, shake, shake. Now we want to space them out because they're not going to cook when they're all on top of each other and all up in other shrimp way. Okay. So, look at how good these look. Oh, nice color, nice pink. You can tell that they're done, but they're not overcooked. Okay, so I've had this off of the heat for a while, and I've let them cool off. So now let's go ahead and finish up the salads. So I've taken half of my avocado portions, and I've started to layer them in these super fancy glasses. Now, you don't have to get fancy like this. You can serve it on just a regular plate. You can serve it on a paper plate. I don't care. It's your house. You eat the way you want. So I've got a portion of the avocado there. I'm just going to drizzle on a little bit of this sweet mango vinaigrette. Just a smidgen. Let's throw on our shrimpies. Now I'm choosing to layer them a little because, again, I like the look of it, but it does not have to be super fancy. 3. Let's finish putting the avocado in these super fun glasses. See, and you see the condensation coming up a little bit because it is still, the shrimp aren't cold, but that's okay. Finish that up. Put a little bit more of the vinaigrette on so it's just all drizzled everywhere. And then we're going to top it off. Ooh. We're going to just top it off with one more shrimp. Okay, so now these puppies are going to go in the refrigerator so they can get nice and cold and those flavors can meld. And then let's check in on our potatoes.
Okay.
Okay, so here are our potatoes that we pulled out of the oven. We've got our hearts, we've got our heart frames. I've also added some of the scraps because I hate wasting. And they're going to be really yummy. So I don't mind having a little bit of extra. Anyway, remember that these were at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. And the way that you can tell that the potatoes are good and ready is by just poking them with a fork. And if the fork goes in and comes out really nicely and very easily, then your potatoes are soft. So that's awesome. Okay, so now we're getting ready to put them in the oven for the second round. So before we do that, we're going to throw on our green onions or chives if you prefer. Sprinkle them on there. And then we're also going to put bacon. Now, we are a bacon-loving family in this house, so I do extra bacon when I do this. If you're in a rush, you can always feel free to pick up the pre-cooked bacon in the grocery section, or you could even use bacon bits if you're in a jam. Also, if you're vegetarian, I know that there's that fake bacon. That might be yummy. I don't know. Okay, so we finished putting the green onions and the bacon on the potato hearts. So now they're ready to go back into the oven for about another 10 minutes. And the reason why I like to do that is because having that additional cook time, it extra crisps up the bacon, and it also helps the green onions really burst with their flavor. Okay, and then while those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and prepare a cocoa sour cream for us to serve with them when they're ready. So, here's a 1/4 cup of sour cream. Here's the trusty old sweet and spicy cocoa rub again. So I'm just going to take just a teaspoon. There's that. Actually, it comes out to 1/2 tablespoon, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to mix it in, fold it in to the sour cream, and it's going to get that beautiful brown color. And then we're going to set it aside while our potatoes are cooking. Once the potatoes are done, we'll go ahead and throw on the cheese, and then we'll put a dollop of this on right before we serve up our steak dinner. Alright, so that's going to set aside. And now for the main event, we're ready to cook the steak. Okay, so I've had this meat sitting out for about 15-20 minutes because I want to let it come to room temperature before I put it into the pan. The reason why you do that is because you don't want to shock the meat from going from the cold environment of the refrigerator straight into the pan. It's kind of like jumping into a cold swimming pool on a hot day. It's a shock. So let's get these going. Now I already have a pan prepped. It's got about a tablespoon of butter, and it's over medium-high heat, and I've let it heat for a couple of minutes just to let the butter melt, and also make sure that it's at a good enough heat so that the steak immediately starts to cook. We don't want steamed steak. All right. Oh, look at how good that looks. Okay, so I prefer my steak to be medium rare, and my honey prefers his to be well done. So I'm going to stick his in first. Let that cook. Let that sizzle. By the time this is ready to flip over, which I'm going to check it in about 5 minutes, then I'll go ahead and throw my steak in. Okay, so while the first steak is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add some Colby Jack cheese to our heart-shaped potatoes so it gets all melty and delicious. Now I'm using Colby Jack because I just prefer it for stuff like this. You can use whatever cheese you prefer, whether it's a cheddar, you could even do a Swiss. If you want to be super fancy, you could do a Gruyere. You could also do maybe like a blue cheese crumble. That would be kind of cool. So I'm just going to coat all of these evenly, and while they cool on the pan, that's going to help the cheese to melt. So
go ahead.
While the cheese is melting on the potatoes, let's check on the steak. We're going to go ahead and flip it. And now I'm going to throw mine on. Now these are flat iron steaks, so they're on kind of the thin side when it comes to cuts of meat. If you do a cut that's thicker, like a T-bone, sirloin, anything like that, then you're going to have to adjust the cooking time. So the best way to determine that your steak is done at the temperature that you like is you look at the color, and then you also feel for the firmness. So I'm giving that a little bit of a squeeze. It feels really good. I'm going to touch it. That's a little softer than he likes, but it's okay because I just flipped it over, and it's going to still have time to cook. So it's going to cook a little bit more down. So let's take our steaks over to the cutting board to rest. And the reason we want these to rest is because the juices, as it's cooking, are jumping all over the place. They're dancing all around like crazy. So before we cut into it, we want to make sure that it's rested and that all of the juices are even throughout the steak, so you don't cut into one part of the steak and it's dry, and then the other part's all juicy goosey. So while the meat's resting for 5 to 10 minutes, we'll go ahead and dollop these heart potatoes with our chocolate sour cream. All right, yum yum. Ooh, and remember, even though this is a chocolate, it's the savory cocoa, and it's got all kinds of good spices and seasonings in it, so it's going to be perfect for these. So our heart potatoes are on the plate waiting. So let's check on the meat. Now this is the well done cut. You remember I cooked a little bit longer because that's how my honey likes it. So let's look. Oh ha ha! Well done. Very well done. Okay, so I'm going to just add this right onto the plate. Yay, potatoes have a friend. So there's that. Wonderful. And I pulled the mango and shrimp salad out of the refrigerator, drizzled a little bit more of the vinaigrette on top, and there you have it. A romantic chocolate steak dinner for two. Okay. For the cake, you will need 1 box Dove Chocolate Discovery's Molten Lava Chocolate Cake Mix. You will need 1 tablespoon of Dove Chocolate Discovery's Raspberry Dessert Sauce. You will need 1 stick of butter and 3 eggs. So I've melted my stick of butter, and now I'm going to combine the Molten Lava Chocolate Cake Mix with it. Oh my goodness, look at all those chips. I wish you could smell how good this is, because this is good. Okay, so I'm just going to stir it to combine. Just make sure that the powder is incorporated with the butter and we've got more of a batter instead of just a powder. All right. So now that I've combined the cake mix and the butter, I'm going to continue to microwave it so that the chunks of chocolate melt and it gets a consistency, the same consistency in the batter. Now I don't want this to burn or scald, so I'm going to microwave them in 20-second intervals, and I'm going to stir in between each interval. Okay, so I've microwaved the mix so that it gets all melted and that great consistency, and now I'm going to whisk in 3 eggs. And I'm going to do it one at a time. Okay. So as you mix in the eggs and you whip them in, you'll notice that the batter is getting more and more shiny, and that's a good sign. That's what you want. Ha ha ha. Okay, so now that we've whisked in the eggs, we have the batter consistency that we want for our molten lava cakes. So, I've already prepared 3 ceramic dishes by buttering the sides. And I'm just going to start filling these guys up. So I've filled my ramekins about halfway with the cake batter, and these will go into a 350-degree oven for 15 to 18 minutes. This one, believe it or not, I'm going to microwave in minutes. Okay, now I'll show you how you can actually microwave your molten lava cake. So this is my ramekin. This one I filled up to about a 1/4 cup. Now we're going to just put it in here for 1 minute. So the thing that's great about this cake is it's actually gluten-free, which is awesome for people with celiac disease or people with just gluten allergies in general. So that way they can have their cake and eat it too. Yay! Okay, so let's check in on our cake. It's hot, so please be careful taking it out. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There you have it. Your own personal molten lava cake in a minute flat. I'm going to let this cool. Now this cake is something that you're going to want to serve pretty immediately after you make it. We'll pull those out of the oven after about 16 minutes. I'm going to let them cool I'm going to let them cool for 5 minutes before I add the raspberry sauce, before I add any garnish, before I add anything. Because I just want to make sure that it's cooled enough that it's not going to burn my mouth, but I also still want it warm enough so that we get that ooey gooey lava effect. So the cakes have been cooling for about 5 minutes, so now I'm going to invert them onto a plate. And by doing that, you want to be very careful because it is still hot. You want to just take a butter knife and gently move it around the center. Easy peasy, and this, by the way, is why you want to really be able to butter them well. Okay, so I'm going to set that there. Ugh. Oh. It's okay, well, let me get it again. We'll fix it in post. Did it this way. Okay, so I just put the second cake on the plate, so let's see how that turns out. Oh, yeah. Yum, yum, yum. So while the cake was cooling, I went ahead and I prepared my raspberry dessert sauce. And I did that by adding 1 tablespoon of the raspberry dessert sauce mix with about 1 tablespoon of water. So I'm going to use this super cool squeeze bottle, and I'm going to just puncture the middle of the cake and squeeze. And that is going to give this cake that raspberry chocolate flavor, which is so nice and so Valentine's-y. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Now, if you wanted to, you could serve this lava cake with some ice cream or some whipped cream, maybe a little bit of powdered sugar on top, or you can just eat it on its own. Either way, it's great. So here are my lovely raspberry and chocolate molten lava cakes with plate decorations, also using the raspberry dessert sauce. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you found it to be fun and helpful and inspire you to unleash your inner chef. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Hey everybody! Thank you so much for helping me make this web show a sweet success. I'm so happy that you could be a part of helping me make this premiere come true. It's been a dream of mine forever, so it's nice to actually make it a reality. I wanted to take an opportunity to thank today's sponsors, Karen Hoff-Mokel and Catherine White. I had the pleasure of meeting Karen Hoff-Mokel last year at an open house while I was doing my chocolates, and I'm so glad that I did. As a super busy mom on the go, juggling 50 different things at once, it's really hard for me to make sure that I'm getting the right nutrients that I need throughout the day. Thankfully, Karen has a product just for that. Ta-da! These are the greens. All I do is add 2 scoops of greens to my morning glass of water every day, and I get the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all that good stuff for more than 8 servings of my fruits and vegetables. This is truly my nutrient insurance. If I drink my greens in the morning, then throughout the day, any other veggies and fruits that I eat are just extra added benefit for my body and the nutrients that they need. So thank you so much again, Karen, for introducing me to these. You truly have simplified my diet needs, which is helpful because that's one less thing I need to think about throughout the day when I'm juggling everything else. For more information about Karen and It Works, visit her website at www.crazymagicwraps.com. I had the pleasure of meeting Catherine at my very first chocolate party, which feels like forever ago. She and I immediately clicked, and we've been best friends ever since. So when she decided that she wanted to become an independent beauty consultant with Mary Kay, I was more than happy to help her with her business. Catherine has helped me out tremendously on so many occasions, including making sure that I look fabulous for today's premiere. So thank you so much again, Catherine. I really appreciate it. For more information about Catherine and Mary Kay, visit her website at www.marykay.com/KWEIK. Thanks so much, everybody, for helping me make this show a reality. I really look forward to seeing you again in my next blog. In the meantime, like my page at www.facebook.com/C-is-for-chocolate and check out my page at www.mydcdsite.com/C-is-for-chocolate. Thanks, guys. See you next time and have a sweet day. Bye.